client call me the other day, and he asked me to make some updates to a website that I've built and have maintained over the years. And so I made a couple tweaks and a couple fixes to the website, and I did that work for free. And then I realized I've done more free work for this client than any other client in my career. If you watched the introduction to this video, maybe you're thinking this is like a rant or a rave or like a frustration or me telling you to never do free work ever, and that is not the case. When you should do free work, why you should at times do free work, what are those edge cases, and I'm going to use this client as the example because a lot's happened there. Okay, so first thing, let's just get this out of the way. When to do free work? When you are a brand new, unseasoned designer. This is a complete side note to this client and this video, but I just figured I would mention it. If you are a brand new designer and you have nothing in your portfolio, you should probably do a little bit of work for free. But, big caveat, you shouldn't stay there very long. I'm saying once you do one project and it is a quality project, you should charge the next client at least a little bit. Okay, so I don't have time to go over the whole gambit of possible projects a new designer might do, but charge them $5, charge them $50, charge them $100, charge them $500. I said bucks, a lot in that. That's ridiculous. But charge them a little something, so that you're kind of like gearing up to being a paid designer. So start for free, but don't stay for free very long. So now let's get to the story of this client. So they called me about this website. I had done this website in the past a couple years ago. I had designed the website. They were a paying client. They were a word of mouth recommendation to me. And I did design that website, and I was kind of busy at the time, so I passed the website off to a contact that I had made who did WordPress development. Long story short, it was not the best implementation into WordPress that could have ever happened. So within about 5 or 6 months, the client had some issues. And this brings us to our first reason why you should do free work. I had to go back in to fix things in WordPress and make it even operable for them. And so the first reason to do free work is because you owe it. This is a lesson that my grandfather taught me when I was 5 years old, which was do it right the first time or you're gonna have to do it again. And so you should be doing everything in excellence, and where it's not up to your personal standard of excellence, which should be high, you might have to do it again. So after that was over, they were really happy with the way that the site had functioned. I mean, hear me, happy client. And so another year later, that client came back to me and they had a new business, and it was very similar to their first business. So they wanted like a sister site. They wanted like a matching site. And so I said, I can do that for you. So I basically cloned their old site and made some custom changes to make it look unique but still match. And this time I wanted to do right by them. So I chose a different content management system, one that would fit their needs better and one that I was much more comfortable working in. And I built a rockin' website that was just super smooth. They loved it, like lights out, loved it. They loved it so much that they wanted the other site, the first site, to be transformed into the content management system that this new site was on. So my second reason for doing free work, and this is still kind of coming off the first thing, right? Is like, because you should do it in excellence and sometimes you have to do it right and do it again. The second one is by doing free work at times, like when I changed that, it got me more work. It improved client relations. And so I'm talking about like a really happy client who literally paid me to do the first website again. They were so excited about it. Yeah. The third reason why at times free work is a good thing to do is because in this client's case, they came back another time and they wanted an e-commerce solution to be implemented on their site. And at that point, I mean, this is a little while ago, I had never done an e-commerce site and I didn't quite know what was available. And so I at the same time, I had a separate client asking for a brand new e-commerce site. And so I told this client that I would do it for free because I was using it to learn from it so that I could implement it into this next client. This was like two birds for one stone, because like kind of tripping back again, like this made my current client really, really happy that I was just gonna offer them that for free. And it also helped me to kind of sandbox, guinea pig that project and make this new client really, really happy, which then in turn made that client a return client. No joke, that's how it worked. And so the third reason is if you want to learn something that you don't know, maybe do it for free. Or maybe like for very, very cheap. I think I may have charged them like a little bit. The fourth reason is different from the other three. And I would say that in my time working with this client, over the years working with this client, we got close, we became friends. And that's where the lines of business and personal kind of mix and cross, and that's up to you. But this client is now near and dear to my heart, and we're just good friends. And so the fourth reason why you should do free work is if it's a gift and you expect nothing in return. So just last week they called me again, and they're great people. He's a great guy. When he called me, he said, "Hey, we'd like a couple new things. I don't know how hard those would be. We'd love to pay you for it." And that's the kind of relationship that's been established with this client. And I just wanted to bless him. And so I did the work for free. I did it quickly, like within a night, because it only took me like an hour. And I sent it back to him and I said, "Hey, I made all those updates. Don't worry about payment." And so in that though, when you give a gift, don't expect anything in return. You have to have an attitude of satisfaction in giving and not so much in expecting to receive something back. And so there is a time to be business savvy. There is a time to be working with your clients to improve relations there, but there's also times just to have a giving heart. And so this is one of those times. And so I would encourage you guys to protect yourself. Don't do free work all the time. You need to fight constantly against your own insecurity of feeling like I need to do this. That's new designer syndrome. If you're a seasoned designer, you should be getting paid for what you do. You should be safe. You should be using contracts. You should be getting deposits. I'll do a whole nother video on contracts and deposits and payment and value. But I want you to guard yourself and know what you're worth. But I also think that it's beneficial at times, and there's just a couple that I've mentioned today on when it could be cool to do some free work for people. And so I hope that helps. I hope that encourages you guys. And I hope that you use this information wisely and don't just go all willy-nilly and it's doing free work for everybody. So yeah, rock and roll.